Ladies and gentlemen, too young to be on a jury, allow me to obtain your attention, for I must warn you of a most dangerous event. One that rivals any sporting event, anime convention, or parent-teacher conference you have ever seen. This event is a gathering of several young people in a single place in order to be judged on their already existing talents and adjust skills. These people will dress their best, and if they can't, well, that's okay. They're gonna die anyway. They will then have doctors that are dressed like birds hit them with sticks in an attempt to cure them by the divine will of God. I am, of course, talking about the 12th century epidemic of the bubonic plague, causing several people to gather in churches all throughout Europe, only to have it further spread the disease, killing off 1/3 of the population. This is the example of how humanity would have no idea what to do in the event of any sort of apocalypse. It's no secret we're all gonna die. Heck, it seems to be all the news wants to talk about, with many national and local news outlets constantly covering the deaths of celebrities, old widows, and the dreams of sailors who just wanted to sing on Broadway. But what if something bigger happened? What if an event hit your town and caused all of you to panic? What if the death toll in your newspaper went from 19 to 19,000 in just a single hour? What if some worldwide catastrophe rocked your life and changed it forever? Would you be ready? Would you be ready? Would any of you be ready? The answer is simple. Of course not. None of you will. You can't even survive life without your cell phone or Starbucks coffee. What makes you think you'd survive a worldwide flood or Yellowstone volcano erupting or Sinbad making another movie? Absolutely nothing. That is what. So this is where I come in. I, a strapping young gentleman, have devised for you a simple 3-point speech on how you must go about surviving any sort of apocalypse. Because when you get right down to it, they all involve you dying. And Lord knows, we don't want any of that happening. We'll be doing so by going through some educational and instructional lectures, starting with how to identify any sort of apocalypses. Or is it apocalypse I? I'm not too sure, actually. We then go over the odds you actually have of surviving, which for those of you wondering is less than walking into Walmart and not finding frozen merchandise. We will then culminate with what you should do after you survive the apocalypse. These things will be of great knowledge to you when we are ultimately plagued into 1,000 years of darkness by Mandarith, the god of death. Speaking of, I don't want any of you being raptured by Mandarith during my speech. It is very rude for you to waltz up to the great beyond while I'm up here talking to you. All right, let's get started. Before any apocalypse, there is always silence. And because of this, no one ever knows what to do during the apocalypse. With this in mind, you're all gonna die. But fret not, wary audience, for I have used real science and research I did while writing this speech in the middle of the woods on an abandoned typewriter, whilst fighting off a small family of raccoons to devise a simple 3-level system of danger of all apocalypses, just to let you know how afraid you're bound to be, which is always a lot. You are going to die. Level 1 points to all natural disasters, which is umbrellaed under them being tsunamis or typhoons. Now, most first world countries are very good with providing relief for a level 1 disaster, but it's not the nature-involved ones you should be worrying about. The ones you should be worrying about are the ones that you don't think would happen. Things like the mole people finally seeking vengeance on the noise of us surface dwellers, or birds finally realizing that they can fly, and we can't. While impractical, these still someday may happen, and when they do, we won't be ready. Some more to look out for are sharks learning how to breathe on land, mosquitoes attacking in groups, bears learning how to use guns, clams going on oxygen strike, lobsters and cows understanding that we are edible too. Level 2 points to all man-made disasters. While greatly limited, man-made disasters are very dangerous. You could argue that at level 1 is also a man-made disaster by us deliberately causing them to happen, by us pissing off animals, or the divine will of God. But these are caused by us deliberately making them happen and not stopping them. Some examples include world genocide, the influenza pandemic, daylight savings time, and nuclear fallout. With some more interesting examples including the 2016 presidential election, K-pop, Lee Harvey Oswald coming back from the dead to kill another Kennedy, and then the rest of the world, and the correct pronunciation of nuclear also being level 2 disasters. Level 2 disasters are not actually that difficult to deal with, as you probably already deal with them every day. They should be just about as easy as waking up in the morning for a speech and drama tournament. Now you know exactly why this is above level 1. Level 3 is all religious and unstoppable disasters. For the point of me, I will not be explaining to you what being completely obliterated by a meteor or feeling the wrath of an Egyptian bird god would feel like. I'm gonna leave that up to you to imagine. Imagination is key, children. Now, to survive a level 3, you're gonna need a whole lot of luck. Which allows me to segue into my second point. How much luck you are going to need to survive the apocalypse. Now, the odds you have to survive the apocalypse, for those of you wondering, are 286,385,286,023. The same as you winning Powerball or putting in a USB drive correctly on the first try. Now, if you were to ask someone something as arbitrary as, could you survive the zombie apocalypse, they would probably reply something like this. I'll be over there with my friend Johnny, gonna go fight under the doom of them damn Barambos, gonna get them off with my pick-pack, get them back, BB gun, shoot them all down, partner. But the sad truth is, you are not a cowboy, but also, you are going to die, painfully and slowly. Life is but a game, and like any game, it is sold at Target, but that's not important. What is important is that it is always pointed in your favor somehow. With the right amount of planning, luck, and skill, you can survive any sort of apocalypse. But you have none of those things. Like I said, you're gonna die. The sad truth is, the only people that are going to survive the apocalypse are those that build bunkers, trust no one but their cat, and carry assault rifles into grocery stores. You may call them unjust or unruly or even a danger to the public. But when your colleague over there is foaming at the mouth and trying to bite your arm, they'll already have a bullet in his head. With the right amount of planning, you can survive the apocalypse. Or anything, really. No matter how unprepared, or you were just trying to make a statement by putting a flag on the back of your truck. With preparation in mind, we then move on to my final point. What you will do after all of your friends are dead and you are left to repopulate the earth. Yes, I am talking about the aftermath of the apocalypse. The aftermath is just as important as the during math, or the before math. Just like finite math, statistics, and trigonometry are all important skills that millennials must learn before going off to careers. The first step to rebuilding society after the apocalypse is to survive the apocalypse. If you've done this, the rest should be pretty easy. After you've done this, you must find a location to begin rebuilding society. You may at first want to do some unjust things like rob a convenience store or pee on a statue. While these things are normal, I please tell you, do not pee on a statue. Someone may see you that is the opposite sex and will not want to have sex with you. Your number one goal is to repopulate the earth, and you want to have sex with someone. I know that is what you're thinking about right now. After you've granted your male and or female to become your king or queen, or the gender-neutral term, clean, you must then pick a society to model after to begin rebuilding your own. Do not pick a fallen one, such as the Romans. They died a long time ago. But do not pick the Americans either, because they're most likely dead too. No matter what apocalypse happens, they will nuke themselves. The only society you can really use is the Australian one. One, because they're in the middle of nowhere and have no enemies, so that's a plus. And two, living there is already like living in the apocalypse, with all these venomous animals and kangaroos running around. After you have done this, you should be prepared to begin rebuilding society as your own. Who knows, maybe even someday they'll teach about you in the schools of tomorrow. or not, everyone will probably be dead by then again. Before I came up here today, you knew nothing about the apocalypse. Now you at least know something about the apocalypse. Before I go, I will say this much. Please do not worry about the end. The apocalypse isn't coming tomorrow. There is no need to be worrying about what happened to you in the future. Live life to the fullest. You have so much more to live for. It's of no use to be worrying about the end, especially when it comes to how you're going to end your speech about the end. The end.